Welcome back, everyone. So now that we have a better understanding of positions, it's time to use positions in our mini project and finish the project that we have. So first of all, these two is something that we need to use position for. And there, I was talking about something that I was telling you, be careful about using positions and do not use positions everywhere. Do you know what I mean by that? So, uh, usually I've seen that when people learn these positions, they start to use that everywhere. For example, they use it for this login, they use it for this. They come here and, for example, this login that they say that this has a 264 pixels space from left and 295 space from top. They use this exact left and tops to position these login and welcome in their content. Well, that's a terrible and horrible idea because, well, we need to think about web pages as something that has a variable width and a variable height, because people are using different devices to see our website. So in this example here, in this Figma, yes, we can actually that is what exactly Figma and Photoshop application like that used. They force something to have a distance 20, for example, 2500 pixel distance from left or from top. This is what it, because their background is not variable. So as you can see, when I use zoom in and zoom out, it's not that this is a picture. This looks like a picture. This Figma thing that we have, but in a web document it's not a picture, and when we zoom in and zoom out, actually the location of the element changes and people use different devices. So that's why we only use these positions when we have to. Where, look at this icon that you see, this icon is on this input that we have. And the only way to do this is actually to use positions, because in HTML that thing never happens. Or here you can see that these two images are kind of randomly positioned at a specific spot. So for this one, this two, and the third one, it's actually a good idea to use, but for anything else inside this document, it's a terrible idea to use positions. So be careful about it, and throughout this course we will see where we can use positions and where we cannot use positions. We will see more examples of that. So let's get back to our codes, and the first thing that I want to do is to actually remove this from this flex box, because you can see that this is a password section. Let's move it here. This password section has a flex display, and now that it has two more items inside it, these two icons are actually affecting on the behavior of this label and this A tag. So that's why we need to first of all remove them from here. So this is it. This is our span. Let's cut this, and inside this input we just paste them inside this input. And actually let's fix the indentation. The indentation was wrong, and now we have two icons here. Okay, and the two icons, first of all I want to select them with CSS, so I have to give them an extra class. So I hold Alt and click, and now I can type a new class, and I call it visibility, okay, icon. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, and we have two visibility icons, and one of them is visibility and the other one is actually visibility off. So I need to hide one of them. So I have to give another class to this. Off. I'm gonna give it on, and let's use this visibility behind it. Visibility on and visibility off. Okay, these are the classes that we have. So let's get back to our styles, and inside our form group, they are inside form group, right? Let's see, they are inside a form group div. Okay, so this form group that we have, I'm gonna copy this all and come here. So okay, we have a visibility icon, right? Let's copy that from here so that I don't have to type it. And because whenever you type, there's a possibility that you might have a typo and miss the stop. So that way I'm sure that I don't have a typo when I'm copy and pasting it. So first of all, the visibility icon, and the second of all, this visibility off. Let's hit Control Shift D to duplicate this, and this is a visibility icon, and without having any space between them, visibility off. When we have a space between our selectors, for example, as you can see, there's a space between these two. Well, as I already told you, this space means form group is inside the login form, right? But when we do not use a space, for example, I've written dot visibility icon with no space, dot visibility off. It means go ahead and select something that has both classes, has this visibility icon and visibility off. So that's what it means when we use no space in our selectors. So the visibility off, first of all, I want to set the display to none. Display none is just hides that. So we can go ahead and hit refresh. As you can see, that is hide. So we need to do something in future. We need to if we hit this icon, so they must be changed. The display none must be changed. The display none must be taken from visibility off and be given to visibility on. So that way we only have one of them in here. So the second thing that we have here in visibility icon, we actually need to use position in order to have it over this password that we have. So first of all, so to this form group that we have, I can assign a position relative. So let's see for ourselves. Let's hit inspect, and this is our white area. So let's click on this icon and select this, so it will be automatically navigated to where the code is. So this is our div form group. Well, we can assign a display to this, display relative. Okay, sorry, it's not relative. No, sorry, it wasn't display. What am I smoking? But position. Okay, the position now of this div is relative. So now we can actually position this visible icon with this relative. So we are using the relative absolute combination that we talked about in previous session. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this, and this visibility icon, I'm gonna assign some things. First of all, the bottom should be, for example, 10 pixels, and the right, we forgot to set the 10, and the right text 10 pixels. We forgot to set the position to absolute, because when the position is static, this bottom and right is meaningless, and these properties is not unlocked yet. So we need to change the positions so that we can unlock them. Position absolute, now these two are unlocked, and as you can see, we can actually change the position of this. So let's see, 10 is good. right? 10 is good. Let's increase the right a little bit more and make it 12 pixels, and the right 12 pixel and the bottom 12 pixel. 12 is a lot for this. 11 pixels, right? 11 pixels. So from bottom 11 pixels. So I think this is good, and this is good. And no matter what the display is big or the display is small, we always have that icon there because we are using a good combination, and that combination is absolute relative that with each other. So this is it. And the other thing that the color of this visibility icon must change to pink. Color should be pink. You need to use var pink, and the other thing that the cursor, you must change to pointer, because these are actually clickable, and whatever that is clickable should be that. I forgot to assign these things permanently. So position should be absolute. So position absolute, and right, or what was right? Right was 11 pixels. I don't remember. The bottom was 12 pixel, if I'm not wrong. And we also need to give position relative to the parent element, because if we don't give that, nothing happens. Position absolute right. The visibility, oh, I'm giving it only to visibility off, sorry. So these things, let's have them all here inside visibility icon, and only except display none. The display none should be inside this visibility off. I'm not removing or trimming these mistakes from my videos, because I think it's good to have them inside your video to see these mistakes that usually happen. So the display is none, but we haven't set the form group to position relative, so we need to fix that as well. So let's find form group. The form group position is relative. Okay, let's get back to our code, and now it's working. But I think I wrote the top and right wrong. It was 12, right was 12, bottom was 11, I think. Now I think it's better, and we can even make it even more and make it 13, and this is good. And now we need to have a hover effect for this as well. The hover effect that I'm going to use is actually, I'm going to use something called transform. Transform is something, actually you could consider transform as a function, because transform is a function and it has so many different values. Let's search CSS transform. You can you know what I'm going to do? I don't want to change the color or anything. This is something that we have done so much with hover effect. We always change the color. Let's do something else for this. I want to make this icon a little bigger when user hovers this. Well, of course I can increase the width and height, but the better way actually is to use transform scale. And what is transform scale? See the transform function. Transform has so many different functions. For example, we can move something with transform, we can scale them, we can rotate them. It has so many different functions. You know what I mean by when I say transform is a function? Because all that we've seen so far, we have seen, for example, bottom 11 pixel. It's a property, and we are giving a value to this. We are giving a value to this. We are giving a value to this. So everything that we have seen so far, any property, we are giving value to those. But now this transform, this is also is a value, but if you take a look, this is a rotate function, and the argument is 20 degree. It means go ahead and rotate the elements 20 degree. And the another thing is another function is skew scale y. There are so many different. For example, this is what transform rotate means. We rotate something 20 degree. This is a skew, and this is a scale y. A scale y, it means go bigger only in y axis. So a scale y, a scale x, and a scale alone x. There is, for example, if we instead of using a scale y, we only use a scale alone. This is what happens, and it becomes one and a half time bigger compared to its original thing. So this transform scale is what we are going to use, but don't worry about them. Now you can see 3 examples for transform, but we have so many other functions in transform. As you can see, this is the documentation, and they all have a demo, almost all of them, and you can see, check the documentation for yourself and see what these transforms are, how many functions does it have. Okay, so let's close this and use this transform for this. And transform is actually animatable, so it can go with animation and transitions. So let's get back to our code. The visibility icon, okay, first of all, we give it a transition of it's transform transition of 0.4 seconds. So, and let's copy that, and when this icon is hovered, we are going to increase the size. So we are going to use transform, and the function that we are going to use is actually a scale function, and we are going to scale it 1.25 times bigger. So let's get back to our code. Why do I say let's get back to our code? I should say let's get back to the browser. So when I hover this, you can see it gets a little bigger, and I think it's good. 21.33, and let's actually decrease this time. I think for this 0.2 seconds is better for this. So for changing colors, 0.4 seconds is actually a good number in my opinion, and for a scale 0.2 second is a better value, I believe. So this is it, and this is the hover effect that we are going to use, and we have successfully positioned this icon on top of this password that we have. So if we sum up what we learned, the first thing was that we can use .x, .y, and it means something that has both x class and y class. It has both. It has to have both of them. And once again, in capital, in uppercase and everything, screaming that do not use positions for everything. Do not forget that. And the new CSS property that we learned was actually transform, and it has so many different functions, and some of these functions receive one variable and some of them receive more than one argument, not variable. And some of them you see here. For example, let's once again hit Ctrl-Shift-T to open the things that we already used. For example, here in translate is used to move something in the web page, and rotate is used to rotate something. So rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Z, they all receive one argument, but rotate itself, let's see for ourselves, or something rotate 3D is receiving even more than one argument. And These are the different type of transforms that you can see for yourself, but we will use these transforms. For example, something like this translate and scale and rotate is more useful compared to other transforms. But this is something that could be used as it's actually something very good that came with CSS3. So this is it. This is for this session, and I hope to see you in the next session.